Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome into Miami Dolphins Today. I am your host, RC Maxfield, and if you haven't already, be sure to give me a follow over on Twitter at RCMB323. I promised y'all I would shout a couple of y'all out if you did give me a follow, and a couple of y'all did that. Shout out to Alexander Jeffrey, and then, hey, we got somebody from the UK as well, and Anthony Hobson. So wanted to shout y'all out on that front, but let's get into that news that y'all crave on the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins made a trade on cut day, and we'll get to the cuts here in just a minute. But the Dolphins did trade for an offensive tackle that was a former second-round pick in the NFL draft, 37th overall in 2019. Greg Little out of Ole Miss. He was listed as a backup in Carolina, but he adds some quality depth for the Miami Dolphins, who have struggled on the offensive line, at least to find somebody that could potentially be a depth piece or has starting potential, and Greg Little does have that. He was one of the best prospects in high school coming out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, played with Kyler Murray at Allen High School, then went to Ole Miss, and then got to play with the Carolina Panthers after getting drafted 37th overall, but now he'll probably transition and have to fight for a roster spot after giving a 7th-round pick up for Greg Little. This is kind of what the Dolphins' offensive line depth chart currently looks like. I put Greg Little as a backup to Jackson at left tackle, but there's murmurs coming out from the Dolphins beat writers that he's more likely to just be fighting for a roster spot, kind of a similar Isaiah Wilson situation without the off-the-field issues, but you do like what Greg Little has when it comes to potential, and you like it too if you're a Miami Dolphins fan for the sheer fact that the front office knows that they need to address the offensive line in some kind of way. Sure, this isn't going out and getting a star left tackle, but it is a guy that does have potential, and Greg Little, again, 37th overall pick in 2019. He's got a lot of potential, a top 5 prospect out of high school in 2016, from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Again, a guy that has played quality reps for the Carolina Panthers, but you love to see that the Dolphins front office is aware that this offensive line could be a potential issue. But what do you say? Your one-word reaction to the Greg Little trade? Me? Excited, in the sense that you get a guy for cheap. This Isaiah Wilson stuff that we talked about earlier in the offseason didn't go according to plan just because Isaiah Wilson just didn't want to play football. But this is a no-risk, high-reward trade for the Miami Dolphins in the sense that you get a guy with pedigree. Now you just have to coach him up. In worst-case scenario, he doesn't amount to anything, and you lose a 7th-round pick. All in all, this is a perfect kind of trade you want to have if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, in the sense that you have a guy that could potentially be at least a depth guy and a spot starter at times, but right now you have to like where your offensive line is headed, at least from a front office point of view. Got to thank today's sponsor of the video, BetUS. Best deposit bonus in the game right now, 125 deposit bonus. Nobody else is doing this. So what does that mean? You deposit, let's say $100 on the site, right? You get $125 in free cash to play with on the sites. This is perfect for all season long. I'm still currently using the stuff that I used last year for BetUS, in the sense of I had extra money, and I don't even have to deposit my own on this because BetUS does it for me. All you have to do is head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code Dolphins125 to get your 125% deposit bonus. Again, the website, chatsports.com/bet, promo code Dolphins125. Today was cut day around the NFL. Every NFL team had to get their rosters down to 85, and the Miami Dolphins were no exception on that. Looking forward in terms of cut dates, 80-man roster cut deadline is on August 24th, and then the 53-man roster has to be official by the end of the month on August 31st. But the Dolphins did cut 5 players and placed 1 on IR. We're going to run through that real quick, with the first one being Jalen Eskew, the cornerback, undrafted rookie out of Georgia Tech. Really didn't get to play too much at all, was on the practice squad for a little bit, but he was an undrafted rookie this past offseason, and so really didn't get to do much in camp. One of the deeper positions when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. As we all know, that secondary was lights out at Soldier Field in Chicago this past Saturday, so no surprise there when it comes to Jalen Eskew getting cut. But looking at the Dolphins depth chart, you probably like it if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, as it does have the best duo of corners, obviously, in Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. But Eskew was just one of those guys that was in there as a camp body, and, well, camp is winding down ever so slowly, and he had to go. The next guy, Jonathan Hubbard. Again, a guy that was in there as a camp-bodied Northwestern State alum. Didn't really get to do much in camp, didn't appeal to anybody in terms of his play, and really, again, it comes down to like SQ. This was an undrafted rookie that had a chance to come into camp and make his impact. Didn't do it, was in there as a camp body, and days like today are the unfortunate parts of their career in the sense that you're going to be in camp for maybe 2 to 3 weeks to potentially make your name, and Hubbard just couldn't do that. Looking at the offensive line again right now for the Miami Dolphins, probably need to update this in the sense that Liam Eichenberg was practicing at right tackle today, but according to their first unofficial depth chart, this is currently how it stands. So going by what the Dolphins released to the media and the public a couple of weeks ago, the next guy that did get cut by the Dolphins today was Jerome Johnson. Again, a guy that came in here as a camp body, right? One of those guys where you look at him, has some physical tools that you like, but overall, when you look at the guy from Indiana, undrafted, really didn't have any measurables that just stuck out other than, hey, he was productive while he was in college. Just seemed like a guy that you had in there for a couple of weeks, tried to assert himself into that D-line group, but unfortunately just couldn't do so. Looking at the Dolphins' D-line depth chart currently right now, again, these are the guys we all know and especially love on the Christian Wilkins front. But this is one of the deeper units. It just needs to have guys step up maybe on that second and third. And you really like what you have in terms of the starters when it comes down to it. But I'm starting to get into all this Miami Dolphins stuff. I love hearing from y'all over on YouTube and Twitter as well, for those of y'all connected with me. But I want to know your favorite Dolphins memory. I know a lot of y'all have always been Dolphins fans dating back to Dan Marino. Should I throw Chad Pennington out there as I worry about the subs right now? Or are there other guys that y'all want to talk about? But what is your favorite Dolphins memory as a Miami Dolphins fan? Let me know down in the comments below. Next Dolphin that was cut, well, former Dolphin that was cut today was a former Tennessee Titan as well in Tyler Mars. One of those guys that was just been a journeyman on the offensive line and has not really played since the 2018 season, did not play at all in 2020, and was a camp body as well, an older veteran offensive lineman that was hoping to maybe potentially stick on a unit in Miami that has struggled in terms of finding depth, but instead finds himself on the wire again, hoping to find another home. That is Tyler Mars. Next guy we have up is Timon Paris. Timon Paris, again, one of those guys that you bring in, depth, camp, it goes hand in hand in terms of that, and he just couldn't stick. So when you look at what Paris has done over his career in terms of his collegiate ranks and everything like that, again, he popped in college. He's obviously going to Stony Brook, but did not play in 2020 at all at the NFL level. Ends up being yet again a free agent, as he did enter the league as an undrafted free agent. So yet just another casualty of camp. Hopefully he could came in and stick. He was 6'6", 315, 25, a little old on that in terms of camp bodies, but just couldn't stick and now finds himself on the wire. The biggest name by far, though, in terms of transactions pertaining to the Miami Dolphins today was wide receiver veteran Allen Hurns. We had a short go out yesterday on the channel. If you haven't, be sure to go check that out for more information on Allen Hurns. But he did have a wrist injury that will leave him out for 3 months. So they placed him on IR. Remember, Allen Hurns did opt out of the 2020 season, and he was a guy that was kind of on the roster bubble if you look at it, especially with the ascension of Albert Wilson, who a lot of people thought would be on the roster bubble as well. But Albert Wilson has now supplanted himself and just right there as a starter in the slot ahead of Jalen Waddle right now. Don't know how long that will last, but currently right now the Dolphins wide receiver depth chart looks like this. Devontae Parker at wide receiver 1, Will Fuller at wide receiver 2, Albert Wilson at 3, and then Jalen Waddle rounds out the pack at wide receiver 4. But you tell me, which cut surprised you the most? I don't know if there's one that really surprises me the most. A couple of these guys could stick on the practice squad, but right now, this is just kind of the normal NFL in terms of roster cuts. So nothing too surprising all in all. Good to see Allen Hurns sticking around, albeit on the IR. But that'll do it for Miami Dolphins today. I'm RC Maxfield. We'll catch y'all next time, guys.